Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. We have some big news out of Japan and it has to do with XRP. I'll be talking about that in just a little bit, but first let's take a look at the big dog Bitcoin and see what's going on there. So the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index has dropped quite considerably, I should say. Just the other day we were at 28, now it is currently at 17. Extreme fear territory. I was afraid that this might end up happening. We were on the verge of going into the fear zone, but lo and behold, it is starting to crash down even more. And when we take a look at Bitcoin's price, we can see that yesterday it did close out red. The amount of volume yesterday was almost as much as what we saw on Monday. Monday it did have a nice run up, pulled back down, and then just closed slightly in the green. So you can see that even on Monday, there was a considerable amount of sell pressure. Any kind of momentum that this was trying to gain essentially canceled that out. And if we zoom out a tad bit here, you can see we're essentially dropping down, climbing up, dropping down, climbing up, dropping down, climbing up, dropping down. There's a decent chance that this will once again rise and make some sort of a battle test around $63,200. So we've been seeing this essentially moving along the Fibonacci retracement zone. Now, another reason why that there's a decent chance that this is going to consolidate even longer is because we're waiting to have an update on what's going on with the Clarity Act. That is potentially a few weeks away, maybe within the next month or so. But with that, the United States, with the Iran war, what's happening between Russia and Ukraine still, Russia's getting hit on a lot of their oil locations. So, of course, that's going to have a rippling effect across the market. But right now what we're actually seeing with oil prices is that they're going down. So every time it looks like there's some major hint that the United States and Iran are essentially going to end this whole thing between them, that the Strait of Hormuz will be opened up, the oil prices themselves are just going to start dropping when people go to the gas station. So Bitcoin itself still in a very bad position. It's down 2.42% on the day. And we're seeing it push right around $61,000. In fact, almost got down to $60,000. It held itself a little bit. And the lower Bollinger Band, you guys can see here at $60,600. That bottom wick, pretty close to it, but not directly on it. So moving on to other news, let's go ahead and talk about what's going on with XRP and Ripple. SBI VC Trade just listed Ripple's RLUSD as Japan's first Type 4 electronic payment instrument stablecoin. So to be more specific, this is actually not having to do so much with XRP. Ripple is behind XRP, Ripple is behind RLUSD, but this is definitely a nice step forward. So the stablecoin RLUSD, the first Type 4 electronic payment instrument stablecoin, and then this does have, no pun intended, a rippling effect back over to XRP because these are both part of the same ecosystem. So seeing this is good news. Seeing this leads to more potential opportunities for XRP's growth as well. And as is mentioned down in the comment, looks like that this was also launched over on Ethereum. Okay, so some additional details. Key facts on SBI VC Trade listing Ripple's RLUSD in Japan. Japan's first Type 4 electronic payment instrument stablecoin. Deposits and withdrawals completely free. Backed 1-to-1 by USD deposits, US Treasuries, and cash equivalents. Issued by New York Chartered Standard Custody and Trust with monthly third-party attestations. Second USD stablecoin on SBI VC Trade after USDC. Built on the SBI Group and Ripple partnership running since 2016. And now, talking about the oil prices. This is coming from the Kobayashi letter over on Twitter. U.S. oil prices crashed below $70 a barrel for the first time since March 1st. So you guys can see, just going back here a little bit in time, it was up above $90 a barrel. That's pretty darn significant. Gold and silver, they're not doing good. They're getting wrecked. Gold down 3.87%. That's in the last 30 hours. That wiped out $1.1 trillion. Trillion! Silver down over 9%, 9.18%, wiping out approximately $400 billion. And since the war started, pretty sure they're referencing here what's going on between the United States and Iran, gold down 25%, erasing $9.4 trillion. Silver down 38%, erasing $2.7 trillion from all-time highs. Gold down 28%, $11 trillion wiped. Silver down 51%, $4.6 trillion wiped. Precious metals were supposed to surge on war fear. Instead, they crashed when the war started. Now they're crashing again as the war is ending. Or looks like it might be ending. Keeps looking like it's ending, and then it's not. XRPL lending protocol passes re-audit with no critical issues. XRP Ledger lending protocol has cleared a full re-audit by Hellborn with no critical or high severity vulnerabilities found. The review confirms that all previously flagged issues have been addressed or properly mitigated by Ripple's engineering team. The audit focused on transaction validation, vault limits, and access controls across the XLS 0066D standard. Hellborn's assessment used code diffs, manual review, and automated analysis. Over 25 million XRP shorts, this is $25 million worth, are currently in profit. XRP bears are gaining against the largest $30 million long. Okay, so again, it's $30 million in longs, $25 million in XRP shorts. If this started to make a run up, this very well could end up seeing a really nice squeeze. $25 million is quite a bit. $30 million, though, in the longs. If they get over leveraged, they end up losing out, boom, we're going to see more of a flash crash. So this is very unstable right now, and there's actually more dollars going on the long side. And keep in mind that XRP's price keeps dropping. So I'm a bit worried about that. XLS 66, XRP lending protocol with another audit to safeguard the amendment. You'll get so much testing audits that you'll say, please stop, no more testing, please. Also good, no critical findings. Massive win for crypto. U.S. Congress just passed the CBDC bill, banning the Fed from issuing a digital dollar until 2030. And President Trump is expected to sign it next. This is bullish for the growth of stablecoins like USDT and USDC, which can now thrive without direct competition from the Fed. The Trump administration aims to pass the crypto market structure bill before the August recess. That's hopeful, right? We're not really looking so much at July 4th. I saw one post saying that theoretically they could still pass it on July 4th, and then the later date, I think it was July 17th? July 7th, July 17th. That date might be more of like a review. I don't think that's necessarily the case here. I think it is very likely that we're not going to see it passed by July 4th, but it would be nice. We're still looking at possibly before August, the end of August. 70,000, over 70,000 law enforcement professionals are pushing back on the Clarity Act. 4 major organizations sent a formal letter to the White House raising concerns over Section 604, warning it could create oversight gaps and exempt crypto firms from the same KYC, AML rules that apply to traditional finance. This is now the key sticking point blocking the bill from reaching the Senate floor. And up last, let's take a look at what's going on with XRP's price. It is dropping. It is down to $1.07, down 3.16% on the day. While I'm recording the video, it's very near the bottom of the wick, so it's very potential that we're going to see a further drop here. As you can see right now, it is hanging out on that lower Bollinger Band level. If it drops below that, I would show some concern. We have just a little bit of wiggle room here too from back on June 5th. So essentially you got 2 instances here. June 5th, bottom of the Bollinger Band, and below that we're looking at $1.05. That's what happened on June 6th. And then, of course, below that, we're looking at $1. The Bollinger Band squeezing very tight here. Got really wide, came really tight. Might see this consolidate a bit, hanging out between $1 and I'd say 115. If it can make it past 115, let's see if it can make a rise going back up here to $1.30. Okay, volume itself, very low. We've got some days here that were very dramatic, like we go back June 1st, that run up all the way to June 5th. There was a very irregular day on June 15th that was very bullish. And then you guys can see, just after that took place, just sell pressure. A little bit of gain, sell pressure. Barely anything, more sell pressure. We zoom out even more. It's been brutal. Just look at this. Look at this. We're going back to July of 2025. So another month will be 1 year since the all-time high that we saw last year. And it's been essentially just going down, 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 right? Very brutal. Okay, so be safe, guys. I appreciate you so much for tuning in. Thank you to my Patreon supporters and my YouTube members. God bless. You do go check out my shorts. I also include some additional news on the day. And appreciate you guys. Be safe. God bless. See you in the next one. Peace.